It was a cold day on January 15th, 1919, and U.S. Industrial had a massive molasses tank holding 2.3 million gallons of molasses that was elevated above northern Boston, a tank that looked ominous and unstable from any angle. The tank leaked from many different areas, and virtually nothing was done to stop the leaks. Then, finally, the looming tank was too stressed with its own internal pressure to keep its contents within itself. The tank burst in a catastrophic explosion, which marks the most bizarre disaster that has ever occurred in United States history. The Boston Molasses Disaster.
South Boston. Boston. North Boston. Still North Boston. An average American family with a cat and a horse.
Boy, I sure do love molasses! Wow, that tank looks awfully unstable and ominous. I sure hope it doesn't fall. It's falling!
Wonder Woman saves the day.
Oh no!
Millions of gallons of molasses flooded the streets of northern Boston, traveling at speeds of 35 miles per hour. Civilians were taken entirely by surprise and lifted off the ground as if they weighed nothing. The pressure of the molasses was so immense that the flying shrapnel from the initial explosion from the tank walls was strong enough to effortlessly rip apart nearby train tracks located next to where the tank recently existed. The passing train had beaten the flow by just moments, and it was lifted off of its girders as the rails were being totaled behind it. Had it arrived only moments before, scores of additional lives would have been added to the fatalities list. Entire buildings were lifted from their foundations from the sheer strength of the molasses flow, with pressures of 2 tons per square foot. 8 to 15-foot waves thrashed the entire northern end of the city and caused more than $100 million in damage in today's money.
I should say here, cost my city $100 million in damage. I don't appreciate that, personally. I don't know what to say. I think some payback's due here. What kind of payback? Squeaky hammer payback. That's what? That's right. I have the money right here. Money? You think I want money for this? Well, maybe I do. I still want to beat your head into the ground, fool! It's the ground with a squeaky hammer. No. What? Hey. Die, fool! Die, sucker! Die!
21 people, a dozen horses, and at least 1 cat were killed by this flood of molasses. Along with that, another 150 people were injured by the waves. The survivors were haunted with memories of the sticky liquid, pinning them down and restricting their ability to even breathe. The most common term the survivors associated with the disaster was simply a nightmare.
Go. The controversial controversy of the USAA's actions were at last revealed through the Boston Molasses disaster. Their need for money and power soon led them to make a fatal error in their way of thinking. When they let a completely unqualified engineer, Arthur Gell, take head of this project, and through this, he made many errors and actually refused to take the fundamental steps to make sure that the tank was safe for the Bostonian public. The Bostonianites were extremely, they believed this was a deplorable action. And Arthur Gell was absolutely taken aback by this. Like, how could they possibly think that what he did was not good enough? He took the complaints from the workers And he simply stated that he didn't want to hear. And even it was revealed through the leaks in the tank after. It just leaked profusely throughout. After the working station was constantly bickering to him, he finally decided to take action, whereas he never really did to begin with. He simply just painted the tank brown. It accomplished nothing and still left the Bostonian public in just as much danger as it did before. And this reflects the USIA's leadership on the American public by hiring such a complete negligent fool to take the lead of this. And this was the USIA's main flaw in their way of thinking. And this, in turn, led to their downfall in the Boston Molasses disaster and their $100 million lawsuit, which sent them spiraling downward to an economic crisis and
Conclusion.
the utmost closing.